Hey, this is Lon with Single Jack Skills. We're at Oak Mountain State Park on a feature called Squamish-ish. I give more details on that in another video. But what we're looking at today is what I would call the beginner line on it. Of course, beginner is tongue-in-cheek. You got to have a little sense of humor in mountain biking. It's the easiest of all the hard lines down this. So this is, you're going to see it, you're looking at it from the bottom, but we're going to go up to the top and take a look at it from the top next. We're checking it out from the top. If you want to know exactly where this is, check out my first video on Squamish-ish to give you more details. This is the entry. It's not nearly as scary as the other entry, but it's still pretty, better not be texting while you're doing this. Literally, you're gonna follow the cones. I set the cones out for the line that I take. Now, this looks like you shouldn't grab your front brake at all on this off camber section, but that's where most people make their mistakes. They don't grab their front brake enough because their brain tells them if they grab their front brake, it's gonna wash out the front wheel because it's off camber. But this has such good traction, you can kind of break that rule and get away with it. So yeah, I would say the biggest mistakes that people make is they come into this first section too hot and they almost overshoot that cone down there. So go as slow as you can. And this is the practice for the real Squamish. The real Squamish in BC, you want to enter those rock rolls as slow as possible, slow and controlled, almost track standing some of them. Because what's going to happen is as you go longer and longer and longer, the slab is going to get steeper and steeper, and whatever speed, like if you have 1 mile an hour at the top, at the bottom, give yourself an extra 20 miles an hour. So you do not want to enter it very fast, at least until you've done it several times and you know it. All right, so this is good Squamish practice, and that's a good reason for us to have the name Squamish-ish for this rock feature, even though we didn't know it at the time. All right, so what I'm going to do is that cone down there, so it would be the first, second, third cone right there. I want to come to almost a complete stop there. So it's like I'm eating the elephant in 3 bites. This is the first bite. Just go slow, come to a complete stop. Actually, not a complete stop, almost a complete stop. If you want to make it harder, come to a complete stop. I don't want to come to a complete stop because I don't want to track stand and make it more difficult. All right, so once I'm there, almost at a complete stop, I'm going to commit and look at that next cone that's down there. You can see right there, it's like in between the foliage. It's right there. All right, and I'm gonna be hard on the front and rear brake, really hard on the front and rear brake. So many times my rear wheel is actually in the air that whole time. And then once I hit that cone right there, I'm gonna start peeling off down there to that cone. And it's pretty much the third bite of the elephant. It's not hard at all, but if you ever do this in the wet, which I've only done it one time in the wet, it's very, very tricky, and you definitely got to be careful on your brakes down there at the bottom because that rock can get kind of slippery, slick in the wet. All right, you're asking me maybe, what are these cones over here on this side? I'm going to talk about that in the next video.